Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Eimear McKeown. Today's top stories. There's concern that funding for the North Quays project must be delivered by the end of the month. Fianna Fáil is considering Eddie Mulligan's explanation for not telling the party about his financial difficulties. There's claims that the Garda's emergency response unit doesn't have adequate resources to tackle emergencies in the country. And in sport, the draws for the 2020 championships took place last night. Concerns have been expressed that the contract signed between the developer of the North Quays project and Waterford Council stipulated that government funding must be delivered by a deadline of January 31st. Waterford Sinn Féin TD David Cullinan says he's been contacted by someone close to the Saudi developers who say the funding for three key elements of the project, moving the train station, the pedestrian bridge and access works, must be approved by the end of this month.
I contacted the CEO of the council. He would not be drawn on whether or not there was a date. He did say that there is ongoing pressure, obviously, from the developer to get greater certainty from government in relation to the funding. He's confident that he has secured letters of comfort, if you like, from the department that there will be multi-annual budgeting plans put in place.
He says no clear figures have been given yet, and there's a real concern from the developers that no commitment has been given from the government.
Given that we're now in the mouth of an election, I think it's going to be very difficult for the government to declare that they will give the funding, and it will most likely land on the shoulders of a new government. So there is an urgency to this, and I think the council and the manager of the council needs to be clear about what exactly this means and whether or not there is good, strong communication between the council itself and the developers, because we obviously all want this project to go ahead.
Fianna Fáil says it's spoken to Waterford general election candidate Eddie Mulligan about his failure to make the party aware of his financial difficulties. The High Court disqualified the councillor from acting as a company director in 2017 due to the management of a family hair salon. A Fianna Fáil spokesperson told the Irish Times that it received an explanation from Eddie Mulligan, and the party will now consider this explanation as it decides on the most appropriate response. The Green Party leader says Waterford general election candidate Mark O'Cahasig is one of their best chances at winning a seat. Speaking to Damien Tiernan, Eamon Ryan says there's a lot of support for the Greens in Waterford.
It's not just overnight that it's happened. It is the fact that Grace has been here for the last 5-6 years campaigning. We've turned the Green Party around in Waterford. Like 8, 9, 10 years ago, our own people admit it was a mess. We were dead in the water. Yeah. There was nothing happening. It has been incredible transformation. It's credit to Grace, to Mark and to everyone else involved, Jodie and everyone else involved. It's one of our strongest groups. It's one of our best chances, but it'll require the people to go out and vote number one.
Waterford Independent candidate Bernadette Phillips says she's not a one-issue candidate. Her general election campaign will be officially launched by 24/7 cardiac campaigner Willie Doyle, as well as Waterford GP Tygo Carroll tomorrow night. She says we're not statistics on spreadsheets.
People were to say, what are you all about? And I'm all about people at the end of the day. And keeping the feet on the ground about the realities. Because often I see policies being made and things, happening at government levels and bureaucratic level, officialdom, as we say. And somehow it seems to miss the people. And we're not statistics on spreadsheets and on pages somewhere. We're human beings with lives and loved ones. We deserve to be treated well. So I'll be taking that message loud and clear.
People in Waterford who want to register to vote in the general election must hand in their application forms to Waterford Council offices before 5 p.m. tomorrow. If you have recently turned 18 and are an Irish or British citizen, you can register up to that time to be added to the supplementary register. The local authority says an RFA2 form must be completed and stamped at a Garda station and then handed into their offices at Bailey's New Street or Dungarvan Civic offices before 5 p.m. Wednesday, January 22nd. The Garda Representative Association wants an urgent meeting with the Garda Commissioner. It's in relation to the resourcing of the Emergency Response Unit following a letter that was sent to the head of the elite unit. The GRA claims that the ERU doesn't have adequate resources to tackle emergencies like the ongoing feud in Drogheda. It added that lives are at risk, but Garda HQ says they have the resources to respond to any critical incident. Louth's Chief Superintendent, Christy Mangan, has made it clear that he's never had a problem with the ERU.
I have never ever had any difficulty in securing the services of the Emergency Response Unit. They have been really, really good. They will be here at a moment's notice for me. Let it be 3 o'clock in the day or 3 o'clock in the morning. I am never shy about saying when we don't have enough resources. I would always be very frank with the public. So if there was a problem, I would say.
South Eastern Mountain Rescue has completed more than 500 call-outs since they were formed in the late 1970s. Their 500th tasking was to help an injured walker in the Galtee Mountains on Sunday. Yesterday they were called to the Cumra Mountains, where a woman had fallen suffering serious leg injuries. PRO John Foley says Rescue 117 were also called to the incident above Cumshinon Lake.
It was challenging in the sense that it did go on for quite a while, and the casualty was in quite a lot of distress with the nature of the injury. But it's the kind of thing we train with the helicopter on a regular basis. So when challenging incidents like this come about, we're well placed to work closely with them.
He says a lot has changed since 1977.
We're probably better equipped, better qualified, and also the number of call-outs has risen significantly. We would have only celebrated 400 call-outs just 3 years ago, so the most recent 100 calls have literally come in the last 3 years or so.
The nominations for the 2020 Waterford Business Awards have been revealed. The best in business across the city and county will be decided at the annual awards dinner, which takes place at the Tower Hotel on Friday, February 28th. WLR's Sinead Ahern has the details.
39 businesses are shortlisted across 13 categories. Best food and beverage experience sees the Cliff House Hotel go up against Paula's Delicatessen and Slice Woodfire Pizza. GIY, Tremor Tidy Towns and Waterford Civic Trust are all nominated in the Community and Social Enterprise section. Corporate Social Responsibilities shortlist is Quish's SuperValue, Dawn Meats and Tom Murphy Car Sales, while Encon, Afex and Sedici are all in the running to be named Entrepreneur of the Year. Exporter of the Year is made up of Bosch and Lom Ireland, Cartamundi Ireland and Thimba Media. The Environmental Excellence shortlist is And Chips, Ashley Environmental and WIT. Won the Waterfront, Monkey Cups and Everett's Restaurant are all hoping to be named New Business of the Year, and Ardkeen Quality Food Store, Spirit Beauty Spa and Fresh Food Courtyard are shortlisted for retail excellence. Small Business of the Year is made up of Dunmore East Adventure Centre, DataWorks and In the Doghouse. Crystal Valley Tech, Flavins and Liberty Blue Estate Agents are on the shortlist for marketing excellence. In the Technology and Innovation category, Enner Power go up against Errigal and Red Hat. House of Waterford Crystal, Mount Congreve Gardens and West Waterford Festival of Food are the nominees for Tourism Activity Attraction of the Year, and Hartley People, TEFL Institute of Ireland and New Links Training Solutions are hoping to be recognised for training and people development.
WLR Sport.
Ballysaggart will meet Passage in their first senior hurling match at the end of March. The draws for the 2020 championships were made in Dungarvan last night. The Blue and Navy are joined by De La Salle, Passage and 4 Mile Warsher in Group B. Saggart chairman Seamus Carney says that survival is the main aim for the season ahead.
For us to do what we did, it took 135 years to do it to get up senior hurling. Look, priority this year is to try and stay up senior. It'll be a huge task, formidable opponents there. Look, I said Passage first game, 4 Mile and De La Salle the last game just to finish off the group. Like, it's going to be a fantastic year.
Defending champions Ballygunner will start their bid for 7 in a row against Clonea before they take on Abbeyside and Roanmore. Dungarvan, Mount Sion, Lismore and Tallow make up Group C. Senior football holders Rathgormel will face Clashmore, On Rhine and Ardmore in Group A, while fierce rivals the Nair and Stradbally have been drawn together in Group C. A proposal to change the under-19 grade to under-20 was passed unanimously by club delegates. Now to soccer, there's a couple of huge fixtures for teams at the bottom end of the Premier League this evening. Bournemouth, who are without a win in 6 matches, host a Brighton side just above the relegation zone, while 18th placed Aston Villa face Watford, who are 17th in the table. Elsewhere, there's a London derby as Chelsea take on Arsenal. Manchester City can narrow the gap to Liverpool at the top to 13 points with victory over Sheffield United. Everton host Newcastle and Southampton travel to Crystal Palace. Finally to cycling, Ireland's Sam Bennett is off to a winning start with his new team Quick Step. The Carrick-on-Shore rider has taken victory in the first stage of this year's Tour Down Under. Bennett finished just ahead of Belgium's Jasper Philipsen in a sprint finish and will take a 4-second lead into Stage 2. That's the latest on WLR. Our next bulletin is at 2.